Welcome back to Beacon Retirement Strategies. I'm John Maxon and this is Pete Benson, and we're the senior partners at Beacon Capital Management. Have offices right here in Middle Tennessee. Our corporate office is in Cool Springs. We also have an office with our state attorney and CPA down in Brentwood and also out in Mount Juliet. We do full service wealth planning, and we're here each week talking about important financial topics. And today's show we've been talking about the importance of really understanding what your fees are and how they really can impact your overall performance. And there are certain ways that you can reduce your fees and have your money work for you even harder and keep more in your pocket. And we think that's very, very good. And so as we move on, we also talked about taxes, because really the next thing, in addition to fees, is making sure that taxes within your portfolio are as little as possible. You know, I heard it said once, Pete, that when it comes to taxes, and I know that I feel this way, I want to literally pay every penny of money that I owe in taxes, every single red cent, but I don't want to leave a tip. And so I want to make sure that my investments are as tax efficient as possible. And the reality is these two things alone, you have great performance, but if you have fees and taxes that are out of line, you can have really poor performance just because these two things are not addressed. And the truth is they seldom are.
Well, it's so important. I mean, all of our working years, we're putting money into our financial buckets. And we want to fill up those buckets with as much money as we possibly can so that one day we can draw from that bucket and retire with dignity and do a lot of fun things that we want to reward ourselves for all those hard-working years. But there's holes in the bottom of the bucket, and fees and taxes drain out money that potentially could stay in the bucket. But people don't want to take the time to plan. How much time do you put into your planning for your investments on fees and taxes in a given year? Or even the last 10 years, most people have not put in any time. And so we think that tax efficiencies, you can write that down, tax efficiencies are very, very important. You can call 615-436-6000. Tell one of the friendly people on the other end you want to set up a meeting with one of the advisors at Beacon and talk about how you could potentially get a tax analysis. Now, we at Beacon, we're a comprehensive wealth firm, and we do the financial planning, the tax planning, the estate planning, all of those things. We can do it under one roof at one place, but we have tax planners. Now let me ask you, do you really know the difference between a tax preparer and a tax planner? A preparer, John, is that person that you hand them all your stuff, your W-2s and last year's tax return and all the things pertaining to your taxes. You hand them those, they crunch all the numbers, put all the numbers in the appropriate boxes, and they tell you, John, this is the check you're going to pay. $5,000, $10,000, sometimes $20,000 or more. This is what you're going to pay, and you write the check, and then next year you come back to them and they tell you what you're going to pay the next year. And hopefully they give you the right amount. Well, that's a tax preparer. A tax planner does kind of the same thing on the front end and figures out exactly what you're going to owe, but then says, if you could potentially do this, this, and this, and talk to one of the financial experts at Beacon Capital, one of the advisors, next year, instead of paying $18,000 in taxes, we figured out that you could only pay $8,000 in taxes. $10,000 stays in your accounts to do other fun things, take a vacation, whatever it is. How does that sound to you? And most people are like, yeah, sign me up for that. And so, do you want your taxes done by just a preparer or a tax planner? And yes, it's April, it's tax time, and you know, maybe there's not a lot we can do for this past year, 2016, but for 2017, this is a perfect time to begin to plan. And so we'd love to talk to you about some of the strategies that we employ at Beacon and in the Beacon team and with our tax preparers to help you with that. And so we can help you find the money with different strategies. John, sometimes we can take money that people are paying taxes on that they're not even going to use for 10 to 20 years and put it into something more tax deferred.
Yeah, and I think this is a big topic. Even if you have gotten your taxes done this year, you should come by and let our CPA review your taxes. It doesn't mean you have to do them over again, but it may give you some insight into what you can do starting for this next year's tax return to make sure that you're putting you and your family in the best tax advantaged position that there is. And this is going to include things like sometimes people ask us questions, well, do I maximize my 401k? The answer to that is yes, in our opinion. What about if I can put in more than what the company matched? Well, that can be a good thing, but maybe it's not a good thing. Maybe, depending on your income level, you fund a Roth IRA. Well, what if you make too much money for a Roth IRA? You're in a higher income bracket. Is there a way that you can do either a Roth conversion, or there are ways that your company can actually open up a Roth 401k? Do you have high trading inside of non-IRA accounts so that they're trading all the time and you're paying short-term capital gains tax on gains versus long-term capital gains tax? Some people just recently, as we've gone through this tax season, have said that they had mutual funds, they lost money, and they still had to pay taxes on that. So the tax efficiency is a big topic, and it's one that's not approached a lot. So how can you make sure that you and your family take advantage of that? Well, take us up on our offer. Our firm, Beacon Capital Management, what we do each and every week is we offer what we call our comprehensive financial analysis, and this includes 4 really important critical reports. A fee report, which essentially is going to tell you if you're overpaying for the investments that you have. There are many cases where we're able to show people they're significantly overpaying for the investments they have. If you're close to retirement or in retirement, you want to make sure that you have an income plan that's going to support your lifestyle no matter how long you live, so that no matter what happens in the economy, you're going to get income that's going to come in and pay the bills. Our risk analysis essentially just says this is how much risk you have with your portfolio right now, and this is what would happen if we got another market downturn. I want to know about that before something happens, not after something happens. And then finally, a tax analysis. And the tax analysis, as we were just discussing, is important to keep more money in your pocket. So give us a call, 615-436-6000. That's 615-436-6000. Well, it's time for a short break. You're listening to Beacon Capital Retirement Strategies with John Maxson and Pete Benson. Stick around and we'll be right back.